Hello and welcome to interest.co.nz. I'm David Hargreaves with another of our double shot interviews. I have with me today property investor, author and financial advisor Olly Newland. Hi Olly.
Oh, how do you do?
And talking obviously about property and plenty to talk about. Perhaps first just start with the imposition of LVRs this week. What have you made of it generally, and what do you think will happen over the next, say, 6 to 12 months?
Yes, well, the LVR regulations are something I haven't seen for the last 30 or 40 years, and it's far too early, really. It's only day 2 to know what the effect may be. It may well end up being a damp squib, nothing happening, and business as usual. But if they do bite, there will be quite serious repercussions and distortions. I've seen that before.
In what sense, if they do bite, how do you mean?
If they do bite, there'll be a lot of people who can't get into homes. Obviously, the first home buyer is one of them. But also, there's a lot of people who aren't first home buyers who don't have $100,000 saved up, people who have split marriages and so forth. So there'll be a lot of people affected if these regulations do bite. Also, it's very likely that rents will rise because people who are going to buy now are forced to rent. And so the rental market, which has been a bit flat, may start bubbling up, and we may see headlines 12 months from now, rents are too high.
Yeah, and I suppose that might encourage people to invest more in property. So again, it kind of pushes the whole thing up.
There's talk then of dissuading people from investing in property, so maybe the pool will get smaller and smaller, so rents will rise even higher. So you can see all the sort of distortions and unintended consequences that may come up.
Yeah, I mean, putting the crystal ball on, I mean, what sort of a rise could you see in rents? Because, I mean, they have been flat for quite a long time now.
If the LVR restrictions bite, as we suggested, then I would think from now in the next 12, 18 months, rents could rise anywhere between 20 and 50%, depending what area you're talking about, and, of course, depending on how deep the pockets are of the tenants, which, of course, means that they can't save as much to buy the house they're trying to buy. So it all depends whether these regulations do work or not.
So 20 to 50%, seriously?
Well, they're that much behind now. The rents have been relatively stagnant for the last 10 years, just rising very gently, while house prices have virtually doubled. So it follows that rents should theoretically double as well. Of course, that isn't going to happen, but they should rise substantially.
I mean, how much of the upward pressure on house prices, particularly in Auckland, do you think is down to investor interest as opposed to, first home buyers or whatever?
Well, I don't think first home buyers have a huge influence on the market, but I think every home buyer is an investor. Everybody who buys a house is also thinking about the value. So I don't think it makes much difference whether you're a mum and dad home buyer or whether you're an investor. Investors have an effect, but most investors are trying to get a good deal and try to drive prices down, not the other way around. They're not driven by emotion so much as by pragmatic investment. But mums and dads buying homes are far more emotional. They tend to drive the prices up. Right,
yeah. But certainly, as you say, if you do get the sort of rental increases you're talking about, it becomes even better deal for people to buy properties as an investment, doesn't it?
It does. You're right. It's just an event that has to happen sooner or later.
So looking more broadly, just at the housing market in general, and I guess particularly in Auckland, where do you see prices going over the next 6 to 12 months? I mean, the Reserve Bank is saying they think that house price inflation will come down. What do you think? If
there is no outside event that affects house prices or the economy in general, I think house prices will continue to rise. Perhaps they'll slow down a little bit, but as a percentage of the whole, there'll still be a lot of money. Every few percent adds many thousands. And I suspect the rise will continue over the next 12 or 18 months, perhaps at a slower rate, but still a substantial amount of money involved. And a point reached where it's just too expensive and they'll start to flatten down. And it's probably a good thing. We don't really want prices to go through the roof. It's bad all around. We want gentle inflation in prices, 3 or 4 or 5% a year. That's the way the capitalist system works. We don't want a huge drop in prices because half of New Zealand would be in the street at that point, being upside down with their mortgages. So that's where I think things will go. But of course, this LVR thing and anything else that comes along, perhaps a capital gains tax, who knows, that may come along, will have another effect on the market.
Yes, indeed. So if you were a first-home buyer at the moment, a lot of things to think about, and the LVRs is obviously just another big thing on top of that. Yeah. I mean, would you do everything you can to get into a home now, or would you wait, or do you miss out if you wait?
Well, you will miss out if you wait, because prices generally over a period of time go up. There's an old cartoon of a very old man bent over a stick with a caption saying, "This is the man who's waiting for prices to come down." So what people will do is probably borrow second mortgages or get loans from mums and dads and so forth to fill the gap, because the amount of money involved would be pretty small.
Yeah, okay, indeed. And again, in the Auckland area, we've got the Auckland unitary plan,
yes.
After much negotiation and discussion, etc., has been notified this week, so now we move into the next stage of the process. What do you make of that and the ramifications for property values out of that?
In essence, the unitary plan allows for denser housing on a given area. And so, again, it will help investors and mums and dads too, I guess, because property prices will tend to go up a lot in areas which have been rezoned for higher density. So if I was an investor and want to take advantage of the unitary plan, I'd be buying on the main roads, for instance, where there's transport and shops and schools and so forth. And I think all the main road areas, or very close to the main road areas, will, if they get the right zoning, will shoot up in value. Obviously, if you have one house in a section worth X dollars, if you can suddenly put 8 houses on that same section, it's going to be worth much, much more. So I think it'll have a big effect on property prices in certain areas.
Yeah, and is it tricky for someone to get their head around it? And is it easy as a sort of amateur investor to sort of look at this unitary plan and find out, this is a good area?
Oh, it's easy. I mean, it's not particularly difficult. You look at the maps and see where the dense zoning is going to be, and you buy on the areas where it's most likely to have a great effect. And the main roads and nearby, the shops and schools, is the obvious one. So that's a no-brainer.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, plenty to go on with there, I think. Thank you very much, Olly Newland. I'm David Hargreaves for interest.co.nz.
Thank you.